work with them. We also work with the feds. In fact, this morning we were doing a heroin buy with DEA. So we are task forced out so that we can actually go to pretty much any state in the United States, as long as our investigation will lead us there. And yes, we did buy heroin in the city of Kenosha, quite a substantial amount. And the reason why we do this is that our job is basically to utilize control buys, and what that basically means is that if you're working for us either as an undercover or a confidential informant, we will give you money, you'll go out and purchase narcotics while we're watching you. We're recording it, taking photographs, recording the money, recording the transaction, and then once we get at least 3 transactions into a drug dealer, our district attorney's office will allow us to pretty much draw up a search warrant and then go after the drug dealers. So it's kind of a complicated process. It's time consuming because we don't want to use the same people over and over and over again. Otherwise, they run the risk of getting what we'd say burned. And then there's also repercussions if the drug dealers find out that they're actually working with the police. Next slide. It's bad. It's bad. Marijuana, I can tell you that it's kind of the gateway drug. I know my parents said that to me. You know, marijuana's a gateway drug, and truly it is. We've had cases that you probably wouldn't believe that the dealers are lacing heroin on the marijuana, and the kids think, or the young adults will think that this is the best weed they've ever had. And come to find out that the dealer is actually laced it with heroin, and they want more, and they want more, and they want more, and then the dealer will finally tell them that there's heroin. That's the high you're getting is actually from the heroin, and it doesn't just stop with heroin. There's been crocodile, which is the kind of the drug out there. It's really, really bad. It's kind of a flesh-eating. Has a flesh-eating side effect where people basically look like crocodiles because their skin is pretty much getting eaten away from their body. So, and I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to tell you the truth, what's out there. And crocodile is in our county. I have 6 officers, 3 sheriff's detectives, and 3 city detectives in KDOG. And our county has approximately 168,000 people. And 7 of us, we do the best we can to kind of combat the drug problem here in Kenosha. Next. Yeah, pretty much says what it says. I mean, my former life before law enforcement, I was a teacher. So one thing that I really hate is when people have PowerPoints and you read the PowerPoint to them. So you can all read, right? Pretty much we're going to keep going and flying through all this stuff here. Next slide. And if I had my clicker, I'd be really on the move. The high-grade marijuana, that's the marijuana that's actually grown by professionals, or we would say maybe some amateurs that like prescribing to High Life and all those other magazines, where they can actually slice the marijuana and clone it and make sure that the buds are female, so they give a bigger bud and they have more THC in them, and it gets sold at a higher price. The crack cocaine is another problem we have here in Kenosha County. It's cheap. Believe it or not, marijuana costs more than crack and more than heroin. Go figure. Some of the pharmaceutical drugs, lots of the heroin users normally start out with pharmaceutical drugs, pain pills, that type of medication, and then they basically want to dull more of the pain, so they keep going up, and they finally reach heroin and other opiates. And unfortunately, there are times when we can't bring them back. We can't bring them back with the Narcan that's out there. We have the club drugs, the meth, and alcohol. As far as meth, Kenosha doesn't have a huge meth problem like the rest of the state. It seems that Kenosha County and Racine County is kind of a bubble where that the meth has not came into our county, thank God. We were able to actively kind of thwart a meth buy in Kenosha, where the drug dealers thought that Kenosha would be an excellent market to break into. Some of the street gangs from Chicago were trying to sell the drugs here, and when they sold the drugs, we actually busted them. It was a buy bust, is what we call it. So we're able to get that crystal meth pretty much out of here. Next slide.
You know, what is club drugs?
Club drugs are like the roofies, you know, the black beauties, things that kind of make the kids or the people that use it kind of stay up all night and jump around and be really, really energetic. And they do run the risk of overheating. I mean, their body organs get really, really hot. That's why you see at a lot of the rave parties where they have the glow sticks and they're giving out tons and tons of water. Because if you get overheated, you run the risk of dying. And it is a big deal. Next slide. This is what we go after, the high-level suppliers, mid-level dealers. Right now, we're actually on a campaign where the police chief of the city of Kenosha and the sheriff wanted to go after some of the low-level drug dealers and users because we were getting several complaints, Crime Stopper tips, emails to aldermen, to county board supervisors, notes and messages on our Facebook pages that their neighbors are doing drugs or there's a lot of activity in this house. And we put together, actually I put together a 12-day operation where we actually were going out and sitting at those problem houses and having the patrol officers stop the vehicles that were conducting their short-term contacts at the alleged drug houses. The majority of them were basically neighbors who were either upset with their neighbor, they weren't invited to the party they had, or they were just playing loud music. But there were actually some residences that they were actually dealing drugs, and we have buys into them, and like I said before, we're going to need a couple more of those buys before we execute a search warrant. We do get drugs, especially the marijuana, shipped here via parcels from Colorado, California, Washington, the states that's pretty much legal, and it's not legal here in Wisconsin. So if you go to Colorado and then mail a parcel here, the U.S. Postal Service may be able to interdict that package. They let us know. We get a search warrant for it. Then we deliver it, and then once it's delivered and open, then we can arrest you. But as far as regional networks, a lot of the stuff does come in from out of state. And we do have our regions and our areas here in the county where there are several grows that are going on right now. And it's about harvest season in October. So we're about ready to go after some of those marijuana grows. That's an indoor grow, basically. The indoor grows are kind of hard to locate. The best way that we can get that information is people that go into those residences and inform us that so-and-so does have an active grow inside their house, barn, or their storage facility. Next. See some of the effects of marijuana there. Okay, next slide, please. Lots of burglaries. Don't know how many of you have experienced vehicle break-ins, burglaries. There's a lot, pretty much in the inner city, the city of Kenosha, where People have experienced daytime burglaries, and what we've found is that the majority of the burglaries are drug-related. People are breaking into people's homes, getting their Xboxes, their jewelry, their cash, and then going to pawn shops and selling it, or selling it on Craigslist to get their drugs. Next. That's pretty much what marijuana looks like. That's the high-grade marijuana. You can see it's about $1,200. All right, next slide. Some of the youngest drug users that we know of. Yeah, that is a 5-year-old, and I guess the mother thought it was kind of cute to take a picture of that. And you can look on the internet and Facebook and see ridiculous pictures of parents thinking it's really cool to let their kids smoke a bong or do drugs. Kind of like they think it's cool to have their dogs smoke marijuana or drink alcohol. Kind of ridiculous. Next. That's pretty much what it looks like. We do work, like I said before, with DEA. We also work with HIDA, that's the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Association. There's 32 HIDAs, which is a federal agency, and basically they record all the drug transactions in the United States. And if you're a member of HIDA, we basically are able to network nationwide, as well as south of the border in Mexico, dealing with some of the cartels, and north into Canada. Next. This is weed candy. Marijuana, the active ingredients, THC, which is a very, very long name. This is what we call weed candy. This was actually taken off an individual at Wilmot Ski Hills, which is right down the road here.